never know when it starts. Hello, my friend. Welcome to our weekly live chat here on my YouTube channel. If you've never been here before, my name is Jen, and you're on my channel. It's called Jen Loves Reviews. I mostly do makeup reviews, but sometimes we talk about other things because we're complex human beings, and it's fun to talk about human nature and things like that. Welcome to live chat. We do these every Sunday morning, usually at 10 a.m. Sometimes we do interviews, and those because they're usually with people that are on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. Usually we do those at 5 p.m. Haven't had one of those in a minute, but I do have a live chat playlist that after this is over, I will link it down below in case you want to check out some of the interviews that I've done. We've done some great, amazing interviews with some wonderful people. So I will link that down below when chat is over. If you're watching this on the replay, it's probably already down there. So anyway, today I wanted to talk about us. Let's talk about our relationship. So I wanted to talk about the complex relationship between people who create content on YouTube and people who watch content. And where it gets even more complicated is when the people who create content also watch content and then talk about the content that they watch on their videos, which then people watch and then comment on. And it's like one of those mirrors where like when you're in one of those like mirror mazes and it's like that reflection that keeps going on and on and on and on. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So, it's just such a complex relationship that we have, isn't it? And I guess, well, we'll get into it in a minute. But before we get into it, I do want to make a quick announcement. I just want to let you know that we do still have the membership of the Collective Brain Elite. You should see a little join button if you would like to join. Just a way to support the channel. It's $1.99 a month. When you're in chat, your name turns green. You get a little red heart next to you. And that little stamp, that little red heart will change over time, and it'll upgrade to different stamps, which I think is really cool to show how long you've been a member of the Elite. So if you would like to join the Elite, you can do that. If you're just here watching, that helps me out too. Clicking the like button, sharing, all of that, commenting helps me out too. So if you don't want to join, it's totally okay, but that option is there for you. I do want to say hello very quickly to the people that are here live. And of course we have Debbie Green, who is here. Hello, Debbie Green. Got a nice little wall of green there. Monica is here. Good morning. Matter Jack is here from Florida, 9 a.m. and already 85 in the shade. Woo-wee. Marissa is here. Good morning. We're safe and healthy. I hope you are too. Debbie says, don't forget to like and share the video. Thank you, Debbie. Good morning to Sandy in Texas. My friend Nancy is here. Nancy, we need to catch up. I haven't talked to you in way too long. I miss you dearly. We need to chat. Roseanne is here. Good morning. S. Jackson, so good to see you back. She's in Florida as well. Lisa, good morning to you. And Cricket, doing okay. Thank you. Good to see you. And Sleepy Nerdy RN, good morning from Washington. We have sun and burning. Good morning to everybody. I did not say hello to you. Hello to you. Thank you so much for being here. So I want to start off with, where should we start? Should we start in the positive or the negative? If I want to keep these views up, I should probably start in the negative because that's what people seem to really enjoy viewing. Isn't that weird? Like there's so much negative going on in the world and negative is still what people love to watch. It's so interesting. I guess, I don't know, I think it's human nature. But let's start there. Let's start with hate on the internet and how that all works and the difference between constructive criticism and hate, because there is a huge difference. And I think that where it gets a little blurry is when you receive a comment like this, when you receive a comment that is constructive feedback, sometimes that can sting. And I don't know if you felt this on Facebook or in your, maybe in your job or with friends where they tell you something that it's meant to help, but it stings because you know it's true. Girl, you know it's true. Sorry. Bring it back for a second. I just lost all the views. So anyway, I think that when you feel that sting, at least for me, when I feel that sting of that person's comment hurt me, my immediate instinct is to react in a defensive way, defend myself, lash back out, no matter what that is, because I felt that sting, that feeling in your gut that's like, ugh, like that punch. So I think it takes a person that's in a place in their mind, in their life, to step back, read and digest what that person is saying, and then introspectively say, okay, well, maybe they might have a point. And that's really hard to do, especially when you're getting a lot of those kinds of comments. It can be very difficult to do. So I think that that's where a lot of people, at least from the creator's standpoint, have trouble dealing and separating between what is a hate comment and what is constructive criticism. I think it's difficult. And then sometimes I'll respond to something that's constructive criticism, and then they'll respond back as if I gave them a hate comment, which is weird because all discourse on the internet seems to have just fallen into the abyss, and there's just no such thing anymore. Okay, let me give you an example, and please don't go after this person. We'll get into stands in a minute. Don't go after this person. But I got this comment this morning, and it's interesting to wake up to comments like this, okay? And it's about last week's chat. Please do not comment a million comments, mean or nice or anything under this person's comment, please. Okay. It says, I wish you would talk about Jeffrey's problematic past and stop talking about his makeup launches altogether, because it feels like you agree with his wrongdoings and are giving him a platform. He needs to fall down in order to change. Okay? So I don't want to talk about Jeffree Star in this, but I just want to use this as an example of constructive feedback. This person feels that because I'm talking about Jeffrey's makeup objectively, instead of talking about his problematic past, therefore I am in a way excusing it, which I think is a very interesting perspective, especially if you aren't considering the fact that I do have a makeup review channel. You know, I get that perspective, I totally get it, but I'm not doing that. You know, I don't think that my platform is the place to talk about those things. There are a million drama channels. If you want to watch and hear about Jeffrey's problematic past, Google is your friend. You will be able to find video and article and video and article. It doesn't need to come from me. Not everything needs to come from me. You know, and because I'm primarily a makeup review channel, that's what we talked about, was the makeup. And you know, I get the perspective of if you don't talk about the problems, then you're in a way trying to maybe gloss them over or something, or I could just be wanting to talk about makeup. It's all about that perspective. So my point is it's easy to take something like that and be like, okay, this is just a hater. You know, actually that's not even there's no hate in there. It's really just constructive feedback, but it did kind of make me kind of go, ugh, for a second, you know? So I can see where somebody would take that as a hate comment, even though there is absolutely no hate in that comment. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I did respond to it. And I was just basically, thanks for sharing your thoughts. I want to politely remind you this is a makeup channel. I do talk about other issues every once in a while, but the focus is makeup. There are plenty of drama channels where you can find this information. Thanks for watching. And I did kind of not really talk about giving him the platform and stuff, because it's how long am I going to make this comment? How long? Can I voice memo you? Because if I could voice memo you, then I would give you the whole thing. But it's how am I going to address all that in a comment? I mean, I could, but it would be really long. And would they actually read it? That's the thing. So it's just a weird, complicated relationship. It's weird and complicated. Thank you so much to Britt Clark for becoming a member, and for Cleo Hayes becoming a member. Thank you so much. Check out Britt's YouTube channel. Let's see what you all say. 13 Perez. I'm just gonna say Perez. Very good point. It isn't your job to rehash JS's bad behavior, and I could, and I have touched on it in past videos, when I was doing a lot of individual product reviews. You know, you talk about the problematic. I was talking about the person behind the makeup, in case anybody cared. I did talk about that, and I believe the Blue Blood review, I talked about some things, but it's how many times do we need to tell the stories? How many times? It's these stories, most of the stories have been around for years of all the things that he's done, you know? Melanie says, I never looked at it that way. I didn't feel you were excusing any of his behavior, just the makeup. Yeah, and like I said, Melanie, I'm trying, okay, that came out weird. Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, I can see the other point too, you know, but it's how many times? Melrose says, you also discussed Jeffrey's past previously. Why do we need to rehash it every time he's mentioned? Is anyone? Yeah. or anyone, not just him. Yeah, exactly. So I don't want this to be a Jeffrey chat. That's not really what this is about. The point is that I think that there's an expectation from the viewer that the person they're watching will do things the way that they want them to, but the person making the content doesn't know the viewer. But when the viewer is let down because the content creator didn't do what they wanted them to do, they hold them responsible for not doing the thing when they don't even know the viewer or know what they wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's this weird thing. And I think that sometimes it's easy as a viewer to feel like people that we're watching are people that we truly know in our real lives, and that person knows that person back. I think it's called a parasocial relationship, where the person who's making the contact doesn't know, like maybe the person has never commented on video ever, but the person expects the YouTuber to know that person and what they want and what they need. And it's like, I never met you. I'm sorry I'm letting you down. I don't know you, you know? And I think it's that expectation is just weird, I think. It's just so weird. Thank you, Mimi Micro. I appreciate you. It's such a weird thing. Yeah, Jenna says, what's saying is you can't please some people. Wait, what's the saying? You can please some people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time, 100%. But I think as viewers, sometimes we expect to be pleased all of the time. And I think that's where the line between the haters and the people with constructive criticism starts to blur. Because when the person who's commenting comes off as somebody that expects the content creator to be able to read their mind and do exactly what, and then the content creator's like, what? Like, how was I supposed to know that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a weird relationship. I mean, there are, and then the other thing is sometimes I'll respond to things like that. Oh, I already said that I'll respond to things like that, and people will be like, they'll come back as a hater. And it's like, why didn't I just block you in the first place? I had a vibe. I thought you were a butthead. And then I realized after you were all along. That happens on Twitter a lot, where I'll try to start having a conversation with somebody and then it'll just go south real quick. It's like, whoa, dude, I was just trying to have a conversation with you. I don't even know what happened. Susan says, reason 819, I won't do YouTube, having to repeat yourself 800 times. I have children. I already lived that life. Oh my gosh. I feel that in my soul. And it's funny because another thing that happens is the people that have the million disclaimers in front of their videos. Like I've done that before, where I've had, different disclaimers at the beginning of the video, and people are like, just get to the point already. Why are you saying all these disclaimers? Because if I don't, there'll be 100 comments. I'm trying to save my mental health here. So, yeah, that happens too. So if you see a YouTuber that's giving a bunch of disclaimers at the beginning of their video, that's why, is because they're trying to protect themselves from those pings of pain from the comments that come in that are repetitive of, why didn't you do this? And why didn't you say this? And we're trying to clear it up in the beginning, so that we don't have to read those comments over and over and over and over and over again. But then we get the comments over and over and over again that we shouldn't leave so many disclaimers. It's like you really can't win. Another trap I think that YouTubers fall in, and I think a lot of people on social media fall in, is lumping people into a category of the people who dislike something. So I'm trying to think of an example. So let's say, okay. What can I pull out here? Okay. So let's say, okay, this was from my FabFitFun box. If you didn't watch my FabFitFun review, it's really good. You should watch it. So let's say I have people that are fragrance-free people, okay? And then I have people that love fragrance in their hand creams. This is a fragranced hand cream. And I could say, oh, this has fragrance in it, but I really, really like it a lot, blah, 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 blah. People will come at me and they'll say, I wish that you wouldn't talk about hand creams with fragrance. Fragrance can sensitize the skin. So then the next video, I'm like, I don't like fragrance. You guys tell me all the time you don't like fragrance. So I think this is terrible. And then I'll get the comments, fragrance doesn't sensitize everybody. It only, some people really like fragrance in their hand creams. So I don't understand why you're hating on it just because it has fragrance. And what the YouTuber does is the YouTuber pretends they're the same person. And sometimes people reading the comments will pretend they're the same person. It's like, wait a minute, you told me you liked fragrance, and you didn't like fragrance, and now you're telling me you like fragrance? Like, what do you want from me? It's because they were two different people. And I know that's a very basic example, but this gets very psychological and, social and all of that. We like to, in our brains, we like to simplify things because it's hard to digest things that are overly complex when we think about, how many individuals there are out there. And we generalize what our audience is telling us as if it were the same person. And I think that's something dangerous that YouTubers do that they need to kind of snap out of and realize that the person who told you to stop doing X, Y, and Z is probably not the person that says, I missed when you did X, Y, and Z. They're different people. And like my friend was saying earlier, you can't please everybody all of the time. You just can't. It's not possible. And maybe you see this in your own life in your own social spheres, either online or in real life. Probably not in real life because you'd know that they were different people. Jennifer says, it always makes me sad when a YouTuber says, please don't attack me in the comments. I wish that weren't a worry when you're uploading your opinion on your channel. I mean, it happens. And I think that there is a place for constructive feedback. I think there is a place for dissent. I think there is a place for discussion. But I think we've lost our ability to have discussions. It's my way or the highway. It's if you don't believe in what I believe, if you don't say what I say, if you don't do what I tell you to do, then you're not my people, like all the time. And everybody pulling in different directions. What was that, Stretch Armstrong? Go Gadget Arms? No, that doesn't fit. Sarah says, I wonder if people get upset that their expectations aren't met because they wasted their time and the YouTuber gets paid regardless. Just the thought. Ooh, very interesting. That's interesting. And I think that you have a point there. I think that, our time is valuable. And I can totally see that, Sarah, where somebody was like, I thought I was going to get this kind of content. I thought you were this kind of creator. I invested all this time in you. And it turns out you're this kind of person. Or it turns out that you're different than me in this way. And now I'm upset that I wasted my time and energy on you. And you've taken something from me. But is it the creator's fault? That's the thing. I guess it depends on how they presented themselves initially and how they presented the video, like a clickbait thumbnail. When you present your thumbnail as one thing and then the content is completely different and you feel like you've now wasted your time. That's a true clickbait thumbnail. Well, I guess the technical definition of clickbait is just a thumbnail that makes you want to click. But in the negative sense of a clickbait thumbnail. That is a really good point, Sarah. Thank you so much for bringing that up. This is why I love the collective brain. Nalinse says, I think that the world of YouTube channels has given people permission to be jerks without a filter because they're anonymous, so I guess they're showing their true colors. And you never know what somebody's day was like. You never know what someone went through that day. And maybe they just had a really bad day. And they watch something and they're just like, ugh. Like that just added to my bad day. Like kind of like what Sarah was saying, that just added to my bad day and I wasn't expecting that. And you just did that to me. You just added to my bad day. So I'm gonna type something and let you know that you just added to my bad day and made my day worse because you didn't talk about what I wanted you to talk about that lip gloss. You never know though. And I think that it's the point is that I think we all need to take a step back sometimes. Take a step back, take a breath. And maybe if we're upset, just walk away from it for a minute before we say something, because you do truly never know what somebody's going through. Take a step back, walk away for a minute, and then go back to it and be like, all right, I got new eyes, I got fresh eyes. What does this really mean? Is it worth leaving this comment? And how can I leave it in a way that's constructive rather than destructive? Something to think about. Faith says people need to avoid stand behavior mentality and management of expectations. Let's move on to that. I think that's a great segue, Faith. I appreciate you. Oh, before that, Jessica says, what about the people who hate watch? The YouTubers still getting paid. That is very, 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 very true. And like we were talking about last week, it's taking your eyes off of people. If you truly don't want someone to do well, like how she was saying, Whoop, I just dropped my lipstick that I want to show you later. If you truly want someone, like, what did the comments say? That Jeffrey really needs to fall down in order to change. If you truly want someone to be deplatformed, you need to take your eyes off of them. That's all you need to do. Is collectively, people need to take their eyes off of them. I'm not making that judgment as far as Jeffrey in this particular situation. Please don't take it that way. You do you, but just in general. And the thing is honestly, like, I just want to say one more thing about this, and then I want to move on to the stands, like Faith was saying. One more thing. If you think about it, people can only change so much. People are still who they are at their core. If you've been in a long relationship, you know this. The person you married at their core is still the same person. If they were somebody that did not like helping with housework when you married them, they probably are not going to like helping with housework 40 years later. People only change so much. You can tell them, hey, can you please help me with this housework? Can you please do the dishes for once? But they're not going to like it. And you may have to continue bugging them for the next 40 years to do the dishes. They're still not going to like it. Maybe you won't have to bug them because they've learned. They're still going to hate it. People are always going to be who they are, no matter how much they change, no matter how much they grow. In people's soul, in their gut, they're always the same person. And I don't think deplatforming someone is going to truly change who a person is. May bring some perspective. It may change how they behave publicly. It may change, who they present themselves to be. But in their core, they're the same person. They've just grown and learned a little bit more. And maybe they just have a different perspective that makes them maybe make different choices, but they're still the same person. And those motivations and who that person is the same. Anyway, all right, let's move on to stan culture. So if you do not know the term stan, which I know that there are people that don't know the term stan, I will explain. It's the typical, it goes back to, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Eminem video with the fabulous Devin Sawa, who you should be following on Twitter because he's amazing, just saying, playing stan, okay? And stan is the super fan. Being a stan, the song is called Stan. You can watch the video, and it's basically he's this obsessive fan where Eminem can do no wrong, can do absolutely no wrong. So when you're a stan, your favorite person can absolutely do no wrong. And even when they do wrong, you have an excuse for it. You have a reason why they did it, and they can do no wrong. Okay? And I do believe that is just as damaging, maybe not just as damaging, but it can be damaging in very similar ways as haters can be. Because you'll notice that different YouTubers' stans, the people that will defend them to no end up, their behavior is reflective of the YouTuber. Have you noticed that? So when the stans collectively act a certain way, the YouTuber is blamed for it. Comes to my mind right away is Jackie Aina. Okay? And and Jackie, you guys know the video I made on Jackie. I think Jackie is fabulous. But her stans are vicious. Is that Jackie's fault? I don't think so. I mean, you may think, you can think whatever you want. Jaclyn Hill stans. Jeffree Star stans. I don't think James Charles stans are that bad. I haven't had any bad issues with James Charles stans. I think because they're just all very young. But they all have a personality. They collectively have a personality, and I feel like it reflects on the YouTuber, and I don't think that that's fair. And the stans are not helping the YouTuber in that, in being a collective ball of, what do I want to say here? A collective ball of making excuses, of not seeing when a YouTuber maybe could have handled things in a different way. Maybe could have done things a little bit differently. No. They're perfect just the way they are. They're an angel. They're perfect. And I think that can add on to the hate to that YouTuber because of the way the stans behave. And I don't think that that's fair, but I think that happens. So I think if you are a fan, if you are a super fan of somebody, treating people cruelly because maybe they have a critique of your favorite YouTuber, I think is extremely damaging to that YouTuber because it reflects on them. without them even having a choice in it. You know, as being a fan of somebody, in a way, you're almost representing that person. So if you act a fool, it almost reflects badly on that person. I don't know. What do you all think? Let's read what y'all are saying. Thank you so much to Liberty J. Welcome to the elite. I appreciate you. Yeah, Tig says no stands are as vicious as Jeffrey's. They definitely can be. Aber.com, what I don't understand with the Star thing, when Eminem didn't write him back, Stan thing, when Eminem didn't write him back, he went nuts and killed himself, so why are we jumping to call ourselves Stans? I think that because Stan is it's kind of the most extreme version of it, so it just kind of made its way into popular culture terminology. Melissa says, in Hollywood, there's no such thing as bad publicity. See, I disagree with that. I think that there's no such thing as bad publicity if you have a certain level of fame. If you don't have that level of fame, it can bring you down into obscurity. That's my opinion anyway. Spoiled Artist says, you can be the best version of yourself or the worst, but you do not... Wait, what? Hold on a minute. Sorry, my contact lenses are messing up. You do not change your hardwiring is what they're saying. Yes, you do not change your hardwiring. That's true. I agree. Meg says it's like guilty by association. While it's not completely fair to judge others by the actions of someone else, it's like human nature, a flaw in our society. I totally agree, Megan. 100%. Yeah, Mari says it's almost like a cult personality within the YouTuber being the leader of that cult. Kind of, yeah. But are they actually the leader? Are they leading these people? And I think that's where we can't, like, if they're cheering them on, rah, 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 go, go, get them, then I can see that. But sometimes they're not even participating in it. It's just the stands going off on their own with their pitchforks. It can be kind of crazy. And one thing I really appreciate about the collective brain and the people that are here is I feel like I don't have stands like that for the most part. Like when I've made mistakes, like I made a video a while back, we will not get into, but I made a video a while back, and I would say this is when it gets me, when I have some of my favorite people that comment on my videos all the time telling me, Jen, this is the wrong direction. You may want to rethink this. This wasn't quite the way you should have gone. That's when it hits my soul. And I appreciate that so much that I have people that watch my channel that are really here not just to say nice things to me all the time, but also to hold me accountable when I do something that they think is off base. I don't think I've ever done anything where people are like, Jen, you messed up. Like, but more like, Jen, this is kind of the wrong direction. Maybe you want a U-turn and go back the other way. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say for a second, I really appreciate that. I do. Even though it hurts my soul, even though it makes me go, sometimes it makes me cry a little bit. It helps me be better. You know, it helps me switch directions when I'm going the wrong path. And I feel like it's made me a better person, honestly. Amanda says, too many people chasing attention and fame. Stan culture is so toxic. Nobody deserves that kind of love. And I think that, you know, it comes from a good place. It comes from an adoration. It comes from kindness. It comes from really loving somebody. But at the same time, it's really unhealthy. You know, and I don't know. And I think that also it's that pain we were talking about. So let's say, you know, I'm a fan of, you know, Maria. And I love Maria, and I'm a stan of Maria. And I have bought Maria's merch, and I have, you know, watched all of Maria's videos. And I think Maria is the bee's knees. I love her. She feels like she's my best friend. And Maria messes up. Maria messes up bad. It's that kind of like what we were talking about earlier. It's that did I waste my time? No. I did not waste my time. I refuse to say I wasted my time because I did all of this. Maria is still innocent. I don't care what y'all say. It wasn't that big of a deal. Maria is still innocent. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Maria did because she's my favorite. And it hurts me too much to admit that Maria is flawed. It hurts me too much. Therefore, I will defend Maria till the end of the earth because she is my favorite And I cannot accept that Maria may be flawed. So I think as viewers, stopping ourselves from becoming stans, I think is part of helping with our social culture, is stopping ourselves from letting ourselves get to that point where we love so much that they can do no wrong. You know, that's the way I feel anyway. That's the way that I feel. All right, let's take a little bit of a break. I'm going to tell you what's on my face today, and then I want to show you a clip from this video. I have been just loving this channel that I found. I've been branching out outside of beauty a little bit, and I blame this particular channel for helping me to branch out a little bit, and it's very interesting. But let's talk about what's on my face today. So on my face today, I have on my eyes today, I did get my BoxyCharm. I'm not going to do a full review of it, but I am trying the products. So I did get the Studio Makeup Easy to Wear eyeshadow palette. I am not the biggest fan of this, but it is functional. Somebody was telling me that this is a dupe for the Urban Decay Naked something. Whatever. Naked Reloaded. I believe. Naked Reloaded, because it's got this peachy guy in here. It's fine. I think it's better than, like, bad makeup, but it's not as good as good makeup. It's fine. I used Lace. I used Bear. I used Fate. And then on my lower lash line, I used Wicked. But all over my lid today is something that I stan hard. Sydney Grace. I feel like I can stan inanimate objects. Like this, I stand. These are Sydney Grace cream shadows. I've talked about these a million times. These were sent in PR. BoxyCharm is also sent in PR. Sydney Grace, oh my gosh, I can't even with these. This is the shade Cliff Jumping. These things are amazing. I've talked about them in live chat multiple times. But in case you're new here, I do not want you to miss out on the... Oh, that's way too much. Darn. I wasted some. No, it's so good. Okay. This is way too much product. But look at that. This is the perfect cream shadow, like liquid shadow formula, because it dries down. It's fully opaque and it dries down and it gives the most beautiful, incredible shine. It's like, oh, I love it. Okay, let me swatch that next to the Studio Makeup color that's similar. Look at this. Look at the difference between what you're getting in the palette. Let me see if I can find another one because that's a little bit darker. Let's do Sheen too next to it. I mean, it's like, you can't even compare. You can't even compare. Like, I like this. Some people like this. I like this. Where'd my towel go? Okay, hold on a minute. I gotta get my thing. Hold on. Now y'all can see my bad hair. Oh, okay. Put those back on. It's part of the reason why I wear headphones. It's so I can hear and make sure I'm not messing anything up. And also because my hair always looks bad. For chat. I don't put any love into it for chat. Okay, so that's what's on my eyes today. Oh, okay. Uma Beauty. Warning. Okay. I'm not sure if you can see, but on my Taylor Wynn merch shirt, I have a little eyeliner thing. I'm going to tell you what happened with this. So this is the Cleopatra Ink Blackety Black, y'all, eyeliner. Show you what I did. I was putting the cap on, and look, the cap has a little spring in it. So I put it on the table. I tried to put it on, didn't put it on all the way. It bounced up, flipped, and then drew down my shirt. I couldn't do that again if I tried. But yeah, don't do that. When you're putting the cap on your Uma Beauty eyeliner, push it down with your finger until it clicks. Do not push it down on the table. So that happened today. But this is a nice eyeliner. I'm still trying it out. This was purchased. On my lips today, I have the Too Faced Sex on the Peach. This has been a staple in my collection for a while. I love this stuff. It is so good. It's one of my favorite shades ever. And then blush today is my girl. This is PR. This was purchased. This was PR Ofra by Samantha March. Blush Duo in Chiclet. So good. So good. I just used this side, the matte side today. Hi, Samantha. I love you. Okay. And then on my cheeks, highlighter-wise, this is PR. This is the CoverGirl True Blend Super Stunner. And this is in the shade Pearl Crush. And that's my highlight today. So that is what's on my face today. Okay. So... all right, let me show you this video. Okay, so this guy's name is Pierre XO, and I'm in love. I'm in love. I've watched so many of his videos. Oh my gosh. And then, what's the other channel I've been watching? ABBA and, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I have to go and find out. Hold on, it's gonna be in my things here. So many videos. I mean, just it's so interesting how the beauty community, we all have to pretty much have the same opinion on everything or else we get roasted. But if you reach outside of beauty, people are actually allowed to have opinions. I guess they're probably getting roasted too. What am I talking about? They're probably getting roasted too. Okay, let me go to my history because it won't show up on my computer. I watched them. Oh, Preach. ABBA and Preach. Oh my gosh, I can't even. Okay, so let me show you this clip. So the reason why I found this is because Pierre did a video on Jeffree Star and why Jeffree Star gets away with everything. We're not going to watch the whole video. I've just clipped out 2 minutes of it because it's not on the topic of Jeffree Star. It kind of is, and I don't want this to be a Jeffree Star chat. But it's just a kind of interesting introspective into our culture. I don't know if introspective is the right word. But it's so interesting. All right, let me just let you watch this. Shut up, Jen.
But the last thing is more of a sociological theory, and I'm gonna coin this myself. Kish friend syndrome. I'm sure you've been in school or at least a workplace or any type of slightly social environment, and then you're part of some sort of group, maybe a friend group, maybe your coworkers, and there's that one guy or one girl. They're a mean, abrasive person that makes fun of everyone, and somehow they just get away with everything. Somehow, they're kind of liked in a weird way. Except you personally don't like being around them, but for some reason everybody around you is totally okay with this person being the dish friend. And eventually, if you do confront your friends in terms of this friend's behavior, oftentimes the excuse will come out like this. Yeah, like, Karen's kind of a but you know, that's just how she is. Yeah, you know, Barry's kind of a that's just how he is. That's just how they are. I've seen this multiple times in different situations, and oftentimes this excuse is used to excuse your friend's behavior. Because what happens is, if you come into the friend group or the group situation and you start off being a it becomes your personality or your brand, right? And then it normalizes. And everybody else, as the humans they are, learn to adapt because that's what humans do. So everything they do now is normal when they're being a As opposed to, say, for example, you have somebody that's a bit more good, a bit more friendly, or a bit more warm and open. All it takes now for this person to f up is very little, because their standard of what a good person is way higher. So now this person, if they, for example, said something slightly offensive, but didn't even mean to, they are looked at as like, oh my God, I never thought she would do this. She said the X word. Oh my God, you're an Xophobic. But your friend's bar is set so low that everybody just accepts their if they do something slightly better, they're looked at as angels because it's not even close to how bad they were in the past.
All right. So do you see how that kind of relates to our topic we've been talking about? This relates so much to stan and hater culture. Like, this is it in a nutshell, in my opinion. It's like, you know, we make excuses for people that are notoriously jerks. And if someone that is a more kind person does something that's small, then they are just roasted to death. They're barbecued. It's the end. It's the end. Isn't that so interesting? Mander Jack says, did you mute the offensive stuff or did he? I muted it. If you go, you can see the full you can see the full version without the edits on his channel. I will link it down below when the chat is over. I don't want to, like, I like to keep my chat family friendly, so I actually spent probably about 10 minutes making sure I got all of the curse words out and everything, just to keep this family friendly so moms and dads can watch it in front of their kids. But you can watch the full curse word version over on his channel. So anyway, I just think that it's so interesting. You know, and then you end up with the stans defending the person, like kind of like the mean girl defending that person, like, because it's not as bad as what they had done. But then the people that aren't stans are like, but it's still really bad. You know, like, hello, wake up, it's still really bad. You know, and then you have the person who is genuinely a good person, and you have the haters who hold them to this insane standard of perfection, and they do something that's slightly off, and the haters are like insane, and then the people who are in the middle are like, no, it's really not that bad, like calm it down a notch, it's really not that bad. So what it comes down to is, I think that there's a for each person that you watch on the regular, if it's not somebody you know very well, you're probably not even on the spectrum, but if it's somebody you watch on the regular, you have the haters on one side, like you hate this person, you only watch them for cringe purposes, and you just do not like them at all, and you talk about them on other platforms about how much you hate them, but yet you still watch them so that you have something to talk about with your other hating friends, so you have something to commiserate about how terrible this person is. All right. And on the other side, you have the stans, the people who, where the person could do no wrong, you love them so much, it doesn't matter what they do, they are perfection, and that's the way it is. But I think that these two extremes are the ones we talk about, but we don't ever talk about all those people in the middle of the spectrum. There's so many people in the middle of the spectrum, and that's where the fans lie. That's where the fans and the just general watchers of YouTube or whatever social you're talking about, that's where all those people lie. And there's so many people. But because they aren't as loud, they don't get as much attention. But I think that's where I feel like the people that are influencers, the people who are creating content, need to really focus the energy. Because that's where you're going to find the truth. That's where you're going to find the ways that you can subtly improve. That's where you can find the compliments that really, truly mean something. Are from the people that if they didn't like something you were doing, they'd tell you. But when they like something, it truly means something. You know what I'm saying? I think that they need more of the attention. But it's so much easier to pay attention to the loud ends, you know? So I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud. Yeah, Megan says, like the typically non-problematic YouTubers who use Kat Von D on their channels or Instagrams ended up being boycotted. That did happen. And I think it also depends on what your deal breakers are too, because some people believe in their soul, and there's a lot of people that believe this, that using a product from a brand in a video is the equivalent of saying that you are okay with all of their past actions, and that you are condoning it, that you feel that it's okay to support them if you use one of their products on camera. Not everybody believes that. I am not a person who believes that. But I know that there are a lot of people that do. That if you use a makeup product created by a person, therefore you're promoting it, you're encouraging sales, and therefore supporting that person. So I think that with that particular topic, it just depends on what your personal feeling is on that. But I think we do need to keep in perspective that, you know, is that as bad equivalency wise as some of the things that are really, really bad, that are inexcusable? Is that equivalent? Should this person who used a product by a person who is problematic be canceled just as hard as the problematic person themselves? That's a question. That's something for the individual to decide. Chris says Kat Von D is a good example. I think so too. Faye says, but how does that coincide with brands aren't people? Yes. So that's where I lie, is that brands aren't people. It's an interesting way to take it. Yeah. But a lot of people do believe that brands have emotion. Well, not brands have emotions, but that the actions of the brands are the same as because we've talked about this in a previous chat, that the actions of the brands are equivalent with the action of the owner. Yeah, that's like making my brain go, whoo, Faith. It's very interesting. That's something I'd have to get my words together for. But you're right. That's definitely something to think about. And I think it depends on the individual person's perspective too, 100%. Lila says, I think one thing to consider is that because YouTubers have such a huge influence, they do sort of have an obligation to be more mindful of their actions than the average person, but I still agree. But do they? Do they though? Like if we really think about it, does an influencer have an obligation to be more mindful of their actions than the average person? Stay with me here. Because, okay, let's say I don't know, let's something that's not too terrible. Let's say, trying to think of something that's not too awful. Okay, let's say I do a behavior. See, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to think about how I want to say this because this could go very, very wrong. If I don't say it the way I mean to say it, because this is live, I can't go back. People watching a YouTuber are sometimes influenced by their behavior, but is that the fault of the influencer or is that the fault of the viewer? That's the question. If you're influenced by the behavior of somebody you watch, whose fault is it? Should we take responsibility for our own actions and not blame the YouTuber for our actions? So like, let's say this is the Kat Von D eyeliner. It's not, it's Uma Beauty. Don't cancel me. Let's say this is the Kat Von D eyeliner and I use it and people buy the Kat Von D eyeliner because I used it and I like it. Is it my fault that those people don't see a problem in buying the Kat Von D eyeliner and that those people just want to buy eyeliner and that they don't care about her problematic past? Is that on me? That they don't care? Is it on me as the influencer that those people made that choice? And on the flip side, if let's say I talk negatively about another YouTuber, Becky, and my fans go and they attack Becky, I guess that is my fault because I encouraged it. But shouldn't those people be taking responsibility for their actions as well? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. And this is live. And we're just having a conversation. So I think some people watching the replay sometimes forget that this is live and I'm just thinking out loud. Leslie says the job title is influencer. So yes, their job to influence, but they need to pay attention to their behavior. But viewers are responsible for their own actions. Yes. Job title is influencers. And I think that when we get into the job of the influencer, for me at least, being a product reviewer, I think that it's our responsibility as influencers to not influence people to do things that are not good. Like, for example, if I came on here and said this studio makeup palette is better than any eyeshadow palette I have ever used in my entire life, I think you should go out and get it. It's amazing, because they just paid me $4,000 to tell you that. But this thing is not, I told you it's not good. It's not that great. It's fine, but it's not that great. And you spent your money because you believed me, because I was just trying to make money. I think that's where influencers need to make sure that they are watching their influence, because they are encouraging the spending of money. And that can, I mean, yes, the person needs to take responsibility for believing that person, but if that, I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird, like, circle. It's that mirror again, that funhouse mirror of how things, like, people need to take responsibility for their own purchases, but at the same time, it's my responsibility to be honest about what this is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. That's why I love talking to you all. Lucinda says, I'd rather use the product and give an honest opinion on it than ignore it and give free reign to bad products unchecked. Not everyone buying makeup is up with drama, but we all read reviews. Yes. And some people don't care about the drama. Some people just don't care. They just want to buy products that they like, and they honestly don't care about the past of the person who is the face of it or the brand owner. Vicky says, I work for a corporation over several brands, but I can't control if one of the brands does something terrible. Do I get canceled because the brand did that and don't quit? I have to work. And Vicky makes an excellent point. And that's where we were talking about separating the, when we did the chat on separating the influencer from the brand. Like, the brand is not a person. There's the person that's running it, but the brand is not a person. You know? Like, if you think about even Jeffree Star Cosmetics, I keep bringing up Jeffree Star. Oh, I got Jeffree Star in the brain. Can't get him out of my brain. It's my fault. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But it's like, there are other people that work there. Like Vicky's saying. Britt says, be responsible for your own actions when it comes to spending your own money, period. It's true. But then it's like, I do feel like, you know, when you present yourself as an honest person and then you tell someone that something isn't good or something is good when it's not, I guess that's on the viewer to then say, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to trust this person anymore. And I've done that before. Yeah, Nicole says, it's in the end, it's still my option to purchase. No one makes me do it. It's no one's fault but mine in the end. Kimberly says, you're always responsible for your actions, but sometimes the speech that triggered the action is equally bad or even worse. True. And I think some of this, I think you make a good point, Kimberly. And I think that sometimes our own, we don't realize the impact of other people's words on our actions. We don't realize that when we watched this review, that it put that seed in our head that this was a good product, and we don't even remember where we saw it. Like, it's like, that's why commercials work so well. This is the best coffee mug ever. You should purchase this mug. It's amazing. And then I see the mug on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I heard somewhere that that mug was the best coffee mug ever. Where did I hear that? I don't remember. Well, I did hear it was the best coffee mug, so I'm just going to go ahead and purchase it. And then they forget it was because it was a commercial. You know? Nadine says it has to do with whether the influencer gives the full info or not. If they separate the product from the bad brand, the viewer needs to know their views and thought process. Okay, let me process that. Has to do with whether the influencer gives the full info or not. If they separate the product from the bad brand, the viewer needs to know their views and thought process on the product or on the brand. Amanda says nobody doesn't look at Amazon reviews first. Julie says, I also think people maybe forget that there's rarely an absolute truth about a product. The influencer just gives his or her opinion, and it might not be mine, and that's okay. That is such a good point, Julie. That is such a good point. Because just because I am not the biggest fan of this palette doesn't mean you won't be. Because some people like the more subtle pigmentation of a palette. Some people like that better. I don't. But your scale of how good this is definitely going to depend on that. You know? So that's a really, really good point. And I think sometimes we rely on, like, especially with skincare reviews, it's like our skin is all so different. And the way my skin reacts to something is going to be totally different than the way your skin reacts to it. It's tricky, man. That's why I stay away from skincare reviews for so long. I'm in it now, though, because I feel like I have enough background knowledge to give you. But still. Yeah, reviews are tricky, and that's why I think it's really important to watch multiple reviews if you're worried about spending money on something and not just rely on one person. Totally. Jenny says, yeah, it's easy to cancel a brand because their rich owner did something on Instagram, but what about the 100 people working at that company who really will be hurt if the brand goes out of business? And a lot of people were talking about that during the Kat Von D situation. Jeannie says, everyone is different, but I personally agree, always get a lot of different reviews, opinions before I try or do something. If people do that, they're less likely to be unduly influenced. 100%. Totally with you. Yeah. Betsy says, you're only responsible to be honest about product quality. It's not a reviewer's job to discuss personal feelings about a brand either way. And the thing is Betsy, there is a camp that is with you, and I'm with you. But there is a camp that is not with you on that. That it is the reviewer's job to discuss personal feelings about a brand. Like, for example, this Too Faced lipstick. There's a lot of people that are mad at Jared Blandino for a million different things that he's done. I love this stinking lipstick. I'm not throwing it away just because Jared Blandino is kind of a jerk. You know, it's good. It's a good lipstick. And I'm going to tell you it's a good lipstick. But is it my responsibility to tell you that Jared Blandino is kind of a jerk? I don't know. Some people believe that it is. That's why I started adding in the brand controversies into my videos, is because I was being told, you know, that I needed to talk about these things, or else I wasn't given the full information. It goes back to the comment that I got. Come on, Face ID. Come through. I wish you would talk about so-and-so's problematic past and stop talking about his makeup launches altogether, because it feels like you agree with his wrongdoings and are giving him a platform. He needs to fall down in order to change. There's a lot of people that believe that. She's not alone. She's not alone. So as an individual viewer, as an individual person creating content, we need to decide where we stand on those things and what's important. And if somebody doesn't have the same vibe as us, we don't need to leave a nasty comment. Not that she's being nasty, because she's not. We don't need to leave a nasty comment. We could just not watch that person anymore. We could just go away. You know? What is that song? Don't go away mad, just go away. We just go away. You don't have to leave a flounce message. I can't believe that you support so-and-so, and I'm so disappointed in you, and I'm leaving now, and I can't believe you. You're a terrible person. Unsubscribe. You don't need to do that. Just leave if you don't like it. And it's okay. It's all right. If you realize somebody doesn't vibe with you, it's okay. You don't need to let people know. Right? But that's where we get back into the hater comment versus someone that was genuinely disappointed in a behavior. You know? I don't know. I mean, I like it's so complex. My brain is like going back and forth. At least to me, it's complex. Maybe it's not complex to you. But my brain goes back and forth with it. AFRES, on the other hand, do we let a brand do whatever they want without consequence just to protect the workers? AFRES makes a fantastic point. But the thing is it's like, are we really going to make any, well, sometimes boycott can make a change. I mean, it changed Kat Von D's brand, boycotting it. But it's like, think about all the brand owners that do things that doesn't make a big difference. I don't know. Too Faced, I haven't seen a lot about Too Faced recently. How's Too Faced doing? I don't know. And it's like, where does it go? Okay. Where is the line between holding a person or a brand accountable versus being a hater or a stan? Where does it go from holding a brand accountable to, is it actually going to make an impact? Do they actually care? Like, are we going to make an impact? Like, and is it worth holding the brand accountable over? It all has to do with individual morals, and that's where things get gray, because some people see certain behaviors as perfectly okay, and some people see perfectly behaviors as abhorrent. Some things are abhorrent, in my opinion. I think the general public thinks some behaviors are abhorrent, but I don't know. It's interesting, though. It's really interesting. Oh, Jessica has a YouTube channel. I didn't realize that. Jessica says, right, I don't expect 75% of the people who watch my videos to like me, but only so I'm not so hurt if they really dislike me. Make any sense? Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that 75% of the people... Oh, I'm hoping 75% of the people that watch you like you. Her name is Jessica Ursin, E-R-S-I-N. That would be strange if 75% of your viewers didn't like you. That would not be good. I'm hoping only like 5% maybe. I don't know. But only so I'm not so hurt if they really do dislike me. Yeah, I mean, I think that as far as viewers not liking us, what it really is, there's a difference between an audience not liking you and a person that has known you for years not liking you. Or somebody that you work with, that you see every day. Well, I guess even then, it's still the same thing. When a person decides to like you or not like you, it's based on what you've shown them of who you are as a person. So if, let's say a YouTuber, somebody's watched 3 of the person's videos and decided they don't like them, it's only based on what they saw in those 3 videos. That's not a whole person. That's not the whole of who that person is in those 3 videos. Maybe they just saw enough and they're like, all right, this is not my person. This is not somebody that I vibe with. But it's the same thing as far as stan culture. It's, to love someone so much based on what you've seen in just those 3 videos or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm hoping I'm making sense. I'm thinking out loud. I'm going to watch this later and be like, Jen, it didn't even make any sense. Yeah. Kaylee says, despite Too Faced's personal issues and Jared being a jerk, the reason I don't buy from them is because their makeup is inconsistent and I can't afford to waste my money. 100%. I agree with you. Their makeup is very inconsistent. Totally agree. Because I think that they stopped caring about the quality of it as much and really started focusing on the packaging. Yeah. Technically, Tracy says, some people take being disliked as their brand. Andrew Dice Clay is a comic, if you remember him. Yes. But it takes a really strong person to be able to be that kind of person, that being disliked is their brand. And there are people on YouTube that are like that being disliked is how they end up getting so many views and so many subscribers, is because people don't like them. It's interesting, isn't it? I could never do that. I could never do that. Ms. Vicky says, I think that if Two-Faced, I lost it. Basically, wait, where'd it go? I want to find it. It skipped down. No, I hate when that happens. Basically, they would let Jared go if they weren't selling stuff. Get this glowing. Welcome to the elite. I appreciate you. Okay, Jessica says I am making sense. Julie says, you know that's only smaller brands. We don't hold L'Oreal, CoverGirl, Maybelline to those same standards. But people do, though. With cruelty-free, people definitely do. And I think it's harder, too, because you don't really know the face of L'Oreal, CoverGirl, and Maybelline. Well, Maybelline's owned by L'Oreal. But they don't have faces the same way that indie brands do. Cleo says Two-Face is super popular where she lives. Okay, cool. That's good to know. I feel like on YouTube we don't see it as much. Chris, well, thank you, Chris. There are plenty of things Jen says that I don't like, but I continue to support because I appreciate her honesty and candor. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Welcome to the Collective Brain Elite, Sarah. I appreciate you so much. Betsy said Andrew Dice Clay's character all knew was just a character. He had many, and that was just one which took off. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember Andrew Dice Clay. My dad used to watch Andrew Dice Clay, and I was not allowed. It was the same with Eddie Murphy Raw. Not allowed to watch that. I'd love to watch that now. I have never seen Eddie Murphy Raw, and I should watch that. I'm a huge Eddie Murphy fan. I don't know if you know that or not. Coming to America, The Golden Child. Oh, some of the best movies ever. Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live. Gumby. Buckwheat. Eddie Murphy has my heart. Anyway. If Eddie Murphy did something, has Eddie Murphy ever done anything problematic that I need to know about? I hope not. Sussex Sandra says, I have a small YouTube channel in the UK. I've lost subscribers because I've raised several times that certain subscription boxes are not inclusive. Been attacked for having that opinion. Well, that is messed up, in my opinion. Sussex Sandra has a YouTube channel. Go check it out. That's just people just being ignorant. Let them go. Just don't let the door hit you on the way out. That's my opinion on that one. It's kind of important for you to have a subscription box that's inclusive, because then how are you supposed to use the products? You're not supposed to talk about that? That's annoying to me. I'm sorry. Just know you have my support 100% on that. Debbie says quality is a reason to not buy products from a company is a normal reason. Yeah, it's true. Oh my gosh, we're over an hour in. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize it. Time went by so fast. Thank you so much for being here. I want to respect your time. We got to go. Thank you for being here. This is a weird chat. I hope you liked it though. I thought it was interesting. I kind of want to maybe even take chat to more social topics and stuff. I've been digging into other parts of YouTube, like I was saying, and I have just really been enjoying it. And I think it'll be fun to talk about more than just makeup in live chat. I think it would be fun, and I hope that you come along with me. And thank you to everybody that joined the Elite today. I appreciate y'all so much. And even if you're just here watching and supporting that way, hitting the thumbs up button, sharing, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to check out What's Up in Makeup today. It went live today. And my FabFitFun unboxing. I do have a couple great videos coming out for you next week. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe before you go. Be back for live chat next week, 10 a.m. And mad love to you. Have a great week. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you next week.